The story is dry. All we've got are pieces. We can't seem to figure out what the puzzle is supposed to look like. John Mitchell resigns as the head of CREEP and says that he wants to spend more time with his family. That sounds like bullshit. We don't exactly believe that.
No, but it's touching. Forget the myths that the media's created about the White House. The truth is, these are not very bright guys, and things got out of hand.
Hunt's come in from the cold. Supposedly he's got a lawyer with $25,000 in a brown paper bag.
Follow the money.
What do you mean? Where?
Oh, I can't tell you that.
But you could tell me that.
No, I have to do this my way. You tell me what you know, and I'll confirm. I'll keep you in the right direction if I can, but that's all. Just follow the money.
Hello again. Let's say here. Over 50 years ago, in a parking lot in the DC Beltway, Woodworth and Bernstein met Deep Throat. And during the course of their conversation, Deep Throat, who we later found out was one of the deputy directors of the FBI, told those two reporters to follow the money. Now, what did they mean by that? Simple. When it came to the skullduggery that's happening at Nixon White House, it was all being financed. By who? Who indeed? And thus, once they started following who was paying the writing the checks on some of the skullduggery, then they found out how far the rabbit hole went. But this video is not about the past indiscretions of Nixon and the White House. No. This is videos about the here and now and what Elon and his DOGE crew is finding out. Now I'm going to show you a snippet of a video from Jesse Waters, and it's enlightening to say the least. Okay, are you ready? Here we go.
Should have taken the buyout. Mary Comans just got doged. The CFO of FEMA got caught going behind Trump's back. 47 signed an executive order that was very clear. And this lady says, watch this. I'm going to send $60 million to Manhattan so Biden migrants can keep staying at luxury hotels. Musk caught her red-handed. Mary should have known FEMA was on shaky ground. Trump just said the agency should be terminated. Just last year, FEMA got caught skipping homes with Trump yard signs. And Mary thought it'd be a good idea to sneak $60 million to migrants. Trump's famous for saying you're fired. This lady's out of her mind. And now she's out of a job. Read the room, Mary. The whole government's being audited. The Department of Education's being actively dismantled. The Dozers are in the building on the 6th floor, canceling grants and contracts. Nearly $1 billion of wasteful contracts were ripped up yesterday. Like this one. A contractor was paid $1.5 million to observe mailing and clerical operations at one mail center. This guy was observing mail being opened and being sent for $1.5 million. This is the kind of no-show job a mob boss gives their cousin. DOGE also terminated 29 DEI training programs at the Department of Education worth over $100 million. That comes to $3.5 million for each training program. Most of you've gone through DEI training programs. You're, in with HR for an hour? Maybe it's just an online course. Cha-ching, $3.5 million. What? I should have been a DEI consultant. One DEI session trained teachers to force students to recognize their privilege and their history of oppression. Half the classroom can't read, but this is what they're doing. DOGE just shredded 18 contracts at the Department of Agriculture. One of them was for Central American Gender Assessment Consultant Services. We were paying a guy in El Salvador to assess gender. What does that have to do with agriculture? Here's another one. Forest and Gender Consultant Services in Brazil. Or this, the Women in Forest Carbon Initiative Mentorship Program. You go, girl. Elon says DOGE also canceled a $17 million contract to provide tax policy advice to Liberia. $17 million to help Africans do their taxes. We even paid college tuition for Al-Qaeda. We gave a jihadi a full ride to Colorado State. Here's how the shell game works. You get taxed. Congress sends your money to a federal agency. The agency sends it to a Democrat nonprofit. The nonprofit president takes a fat salary, sends some of it to a subcontractor, and donates the rest to Democrats.
I see a lot of kickback here.
There's a lot of kickbacks.
A tremendous kickback, because nobody could be so stupid to give out some of these contracts, so he has to get a kickback. So that's what I got elected for, that and borders and military and a lot of things, but this is a big part of it. And I hope that the court system is going to allow us to do what we have to do. We got elected to among other things, find all of this fraud, abuse.
We're $36 trillion in debt. Money's flying out the window. None of the departments can pass an audit.
The reason that departments can't pass audits is because the payments don't have a categorization code. It's like just a massive number of blank checks just flying out the building. So you can't reconcile blank checks. You've got comment fields that are also blank, so you don't know why the payment was made. And then we've got this truly absurd, a do not pay list, which can take up to a year for an organization to get on a do not pay list. And this, we're talking about terrorist organizations, we're talking about known fraudsters, known aspects of waste, known things that do not match any congressional appropriation, can take up to a year to get on the list. And even once on the list is not used. It's mind-blowing.
We're literally sending out blank checks that no one can track with no explanation. It's like the system's designed to perpetuate fraud, from USAID to Social Security.
There's crazy things like just cursory examination of Social Security, and we've got people in there that are 150 years old. Now, do you know anyone who's 150? I don't. Okay. They should be on the Guinness Book of World Records. They're missing out. So, you know, that's a case where, like, I think they're probably dead. It's my guess. Or they should be very famous, one of the two. And then there's a whole bunch of Social Security payments where there's no identifying information. Well, like, why is there no identifying information?
Why did it take Musk to find out all this fraud? Social Security administrators are dealing, how should I say this nicely, with people who are about to die. Shouldn't they know around when people usually die? If you're still sending checks to a 150-year-old, nothing rings a bell. If the check hasn't been cashed in 50 years, that's a problem. And if the check has been cashed, that's a problem. And his teenage deputy big balls are saving us $1 billion a day. $1 billion a day. And have uncovered what could be the biggest kickback scheme in American history. And the media wants his head on a platter, or something else on a platter.
Democrats are in the minority, so you have only so much leverage. Have you all essentially made it clear to Mike Johnson that until they allow you all to subpoena big balls and the normalized Indian hate guy, at least subpoena them or subpoena Elon Musk?
Democrats are judge shopping and getting liberal justices to rule against Trump for finding fraud.
Billions and billions of dollars in waste, fraud, and abuse. And I think it's very important. And that's one of the reasons I got elected. I said, we're going to do that. Nobody had any idea it was that bad, that sick, and that corrupt. And it seems hard to believe that judges want to try and stop us from looking for corruption, especially when we found hundreds of millions of dollars worth, much more than that, in just a short period of time. And we want to weed out the corruption. And it seems hard to believe that a judge could say, we don't want you to do that. Well, so maybe we have to look at the judges, because that's a very serious, I think it's a very serious violation.
Bill Clinton, Al Gore, Barack Obama. Democrats used to be about modernizing government and fighting corruption. So did the media.
If I give you $1 billion and you can't tell me what happened to it, that to me is wasteful. That means you are not responsible. But if you can't tell me where it went, then what am I supposed to think? And when there has been reporting, I mean, this is not, look, I'm not saying this is on you and that you caused this, but I think it's a tough argument to
I'm pretty
make
sure I
that
didn't cause it.
an $850 billion budget to an organization that can't pass an audit and tell you where that money went, like, I think most people would consider that somewhere in the realm of waste, fraud, or abuse, because they would wonder why that money isn't well accounted for.
Okay, you saw that. Now, of course, some of you are saying, yeah, well, it probably wasn't that hard for Elon to find those trail of $100 bills, metaphorically speaking. Yeah, because it appears, as you saw in Jesse Waters' video, that the corruption is mighty big in the DC Beltway. And there was so much of it that people just simply lost track of where all that cash was going. Indeed, as you saw, they had people, whether it be at FEMA, handing out big old checks to illegal aliens to live over at the damn Waldorf Astoria in New York City, to people handing out checks to people who should have died ages ago over at the IRS or Social Security. And the IRS, as you saw, these people didn't even have, and I'm not much of a banking expert, but supposedly a paper trail on where their checks were going to. And I'm wondering, who does that? Write a check with no return address. Yeah, that's ridiculous. And indeed, this is not an accident. Somebody set up those systems like that deliberately. Indeed, as you saw in that video, the damn Pentagon hasn't passed an audit in years because they don't know where the money went. And the way the system was designed, there's no way of finding out where the money went. Indeed, right now there's stories floating around that shows that a big chunk of the military gear we sent to Ukraine on the other side of the planet ended up in the hands of the Sinaloa cartel down there in Mexico. And we ain't talking about no damn M4 carbines. No. These guys walking around down there with damn Javelin missiles, things that you designed to take out tanks. Yeah. And I'm thinking, and now you're wondering how the hell that happened. Well, don't bet any money on finding out, because there probably ain't gonna be no paper trail. And wait for it, you ready? Old Trump put a time limit on how long old Elon and his DOGE crew can operate before they issue him a report. But I guess old Trump didn't realize how bad this situation is when it comes to the graft and corruption in DC Beltway. I mean, you thought USA was bad? Apparently, the Department of Education is worse. How worse? Elon is still finding out. So yeah, I think if I remember correctly, I think Trump gave Elon, I think it was 180 days to sort things out and send him a report. Well, guess what? I think if you gave Elon 180 years, he probably wouldn't be able to sort this mess out. And in the meantime, you have all these people, all these Democrats and the news media just having a hissy fit after hissy fit after hissy fit. It makes you wonder why. Are they just being contrarian? Yeah, you could probably say that. And then again, maybe not. Because you saw in Jesse Watters' video, some of these people were benefiting from the graft. I mean, explain to me, how is it that a person, a bureaucrat, earning a six-figure salary, ends up a multi-millionaire after a little more than a decade? Now you saying automators saving their pennies? Yeah, you could probably say that. But then again, that's probably not the real reason. Because as you saw in Jesse Watters' video, a lot of these people, these bureaucrats and these agencies, are all getting kickbacks. All of them. And you know what? That's probably not the only way how they're becoming multi-millionaires on a bureaucrat's salary. Problem is, Elon is still digging. And I don't think he's going to find the bottom of this rabbit hole. I mean, he's going to try. And I say, hop to it, brother. But personally, in my core, in my soul, I don't think he's going to find the end of it. I mean, it reminds me of something that old Martin Sheen said in Apocalypse Now. Of course, he was talking about Vietnam, but it applies to what we're finding out about the DC Beltway. I mean, the bullshit piles up so high in this place, you need wings to stay above it. And I'm thinking, yep. One thing I think of is that Elon better hire much larger staff, because I think he's going to need it. Because the more we find out what's been going on, it's kind of depressing, sad. Because you have people who were looking for help from the government. Remember all those veterans who went to the Veterans Administration and were basically given a runaround and all kinds of excuses they couldn't be treated? Or how about people who are going to Medicaid looking for health services and were given a runaround? And in the meantime, the very people who run these organizations were were collecting all kinds of money and shuffling it around like a damn game of three-card Monte, and double and triple dipping into the damn stash, enriching themselves, enriching their friends and their cronies. When old Elon said that, speaking about USAID, that it wasn't so much a worm in the apple, it was just a ball of worms, I'm thinking, So what can be done about it? Other than exposing these people and shutting down these damn graft and corruption? I don't know. But as you saw in Jesse Watters' video, that one stupid woman who, I guess she forgot who was in the White House. Well, she lost her job, and wait for it, she also lost her government pension. Yeah, that's right. All these corrupt officials and all these DC agencies all are entitled to a federal pension. On top of all the graft and corruption. Ain't that a son of a bitch? Yep. I think Elon is probably going to need a whole Rose Bowl size stadium of accountants to try to untangle this ball of worms that is the DC Beltway. No joke. Well, that's all I gotta say about this mess that DOGE is exposing. And I think this probably, and I have a feeling this may not be the last video I make on this subject. Nope, I don't think so. Well, that's all I gotta say about this mess, and that Elon is just totally, exposing. And that's my opinion.